connect with empathy and emotion, but also be logical the whole time and not let your disruptive emotions get in the way, right? So one of the biggest things that causes disruptive emotions is rejection. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, 100%.
What are some examples of times when you've been rejected?
My wife last night.
This is going on Facebook, so.
She should hear it. I think when you might have an idea of, hey, maybe your kitchen should be this layout, or you switch it up.
What's some examples of yours?
I would say when you go into a new business or a new business to you, and they probably have somebody who's
What's yours?
Example of when you've been.
How did that feel?
My disruptive emotions were firing hard.
How did that feel when I interrupted you guys?
interrupted.
Yeah, how did it feel?
I was like, oh, my idea's not good enough.
Right. How did it feel?
And I was just like, I wonder what Miss is gonna say.
Please, Mitch, do something better.
So disruptive emotions get in the way of our sales process, right? So we're gonna talk a little bit about that today. All right. So again, I really like that quote. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. And sometimes, like, you're not expecting. Actually, we talked a little bit about this yesterday. You weren't in the room. So one of my business partners came in. I keep thinking I had these conversations with you. We never have. And we were talking about like how you have these friends, and then they do something that out of the blue that you're just like, what the hell? I thought we were friends, right? Like, this is totally disruptive. That's what I mean by disruptive emotion. It's like something's going according to plan, and then your customer does something that's just like, wait, I did not expect that to come.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's drastic, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you think you have the deal and everything's good, and it's just like they stop taking your calls. They ghost you, right? So it's not always like some drastic thing that happens. I want to know, I really like this quote actually, this kind of just things, and this is a little bit random, guys. I put this together at 6:30 this morning, so I apologize. But one of the number one reason why people fail in sales, and this is not groundbreaking, it's an empty pipeline. And that sounds super stupid, right? But like your pipeline of calls, number of interactions, number of measurements is why if your pipeline is empty or not doing well, it's why you're failing in sales. Now there's all these details that go into how to get a bigger pipeline, right? And how to sell better and all that. But at the end of the day, your pipeline's the most important. And we're gonna talk a little bit about that here. And I haven't gone over this with Mitch, so we'll kind of go over it with the team and see if it's something we'll implement. But it's a way to start tracking our pipelines a little bit better and more visual, and we can transfer it to the board, but I think the Google Sheet would be good. What I've noticed is, here I'm gonna ask this question, see what you guys think. Why do you think salespeople, or you in particular, and I'll stop interrupting you guys, why do you think that you're hesitant to follow up with people? What causes a hesitation? I'm not saying you are always, but at times maybe you've been hesitant to follow up with somebody. But what is it that caused you to not want to follow up?
For me, I mean, I've always enjoyed following up with people, but sometimes I may not follow up with people just because I want to give them some space. I don't want them to feel like I'm overselling them. Kind of reminds me of when you're like trying to buy a car and the dealership calls you like every single day. It kind of gets to the point where it's like, I don't even want to buy the car from the dealership because they call me every single day. It just sounds like they're not even trying to give me a good deal, they're just trying to make money. So
how often are you using that emotion that you're feeling to not follow up enough, do you think?
Not often, because I feel like it depends on the relationship I have with the customer. So if I felt like we had a great, relationship to where I feel comfortable.
You don't have a relationship.
I still will. I'll let them know. I like to have the conversation with them and let them know, hey, I'm going to schedule a follow up with you, Friday, and so that they kind of, are aware of the call ahead of time, so they know that it's coming. But if it's a situation where I don't do that, sometimes I feel like following up might be like overselling, and so that's why
you're afraid of overselling.
Yeah.
How about you?
I think about that. I mean, that's primary focus of mine as well, but I think maybe even a difficult customer, somebody who might have unrealistic expectations, somebody who, might want to take you out of what we do, right? Our comfort zone, and try to ask for something outside of that. I think that's something that might give me hesitation in following up.
I think parts of us, it's kind of what you said, and I don't know how you feel about it, Mitch, but I think part of us, we don't want to bother people, right?
I agree. Yeah.
We don't like confrontation. We don't want to bother people, but I need you guys to change your mentality. The sales book that I'm reading calls it relentless interrupting. And it's just not being afraid to interrupt people. And when you interrupt people, because that's all prospecting really is you're interrupting them, right? And I don't mean like you have a set call Friday at 9 and you're not going to follow up. That's not follow up. What I mean by follow up is they don't know you're calling and you're calling, right? The fear is that you're going to bother them or they're doing something right now, or the rejection, the objection. So that's kind of a big fear I think that happens, and I want to get you guys a buy-in in feeling comfortable to interrupt people. Because until you can learn to be comfortable to interrupt people and know how to counteract people when you interrupt them and you're bothering them and get comfortable with that, you're not going to be amazing at follow-up, because your disruptive emotions are going to restrict you from wanting to do it.